What's WAPA? You got your running errands, picking up wedding dresses. WAPA!
Marriage is what brings us together.
You're now listening to the Cutmaster Cast.
Yo, what is happening, you guys? Welcome back to another round of the Cutmaster Cast, your weekly dose of wedding industry insights. My name is Chris Romero.
And my name is Tony Pacheco. What's up, everybody?
What's up, you guys? And we are DJs out of Albuquerque, New Mexico with Cutmaster Music. Welcome to episode number 52 of season 2, but I feel like we should start like another name. It's like season 1, episode 2 of live.
The live sessions.
Right, yeah. So, hopefully the stream is coming through okay for you all, and we got the live sessions looking good, except for, here we go. There we go. I got mainframe out. So, still working through the technicalities of doing this live.
Yeah.
But do we need to change the name, too? Like, does it need to be Cutmaster Cast Live?
You could put a live on it. I've always heard that like it's good to name your podcast and not have the word podcast in it. But I learned that 6 months into the Cutmaster Cast, so I wasn't about to be like, hey.
Right. Well, we don't have pod.
Yeah.
We're not a pod.
Yeah.
We're just a cast.
Exactly.
We're a live cast now.
We're a live cast.
Cutmaster
Live cast. Boom.
Maybe. We'll see.
The wheels are turning.
That's
I like
right.
it.
We're playing with it. All right. Cool. All right. So once again, welcome back on this pod. We like to look at 3 different areas of discussion, which typically revolve around our weekly events. And then we've got wedding industry tips and hacks. And at the end of every episode, we take it back to the music.
Yeah, we do.
But we don't do that on the live cast.
Unfortunately, because of copyright laws, it's pretty hard for us to go back to the music in that in that portion of the podcast. So we cut it off there, and then you can find it on Spotify or Apple Music, or honestly, however you get your podcasts.
Right. So if you want to see that segment, which I think we got some pretty good stuff in that, especially like today for the DJs out there, we're going to be doing our top 5 for downloads for the month of March.
Okay.
So you guys can check that out on Spotify. But let's talk about our events that we had this past week. What did you have going on?
I was at my homie's barbershop. It's a fun way to give back to the community. We both just show up.
Give him a shout out. Who is it?
Edo's Barbershop.
Okay.
Really cool shop. My buddy Joe, he runs it, and they do just a really good job at. I feel like they buy into the experience of it, right? Like it's more than just a barbershop. You go, you get your towel done, you can get lined up and shaved, and all these really nice things. But every 3 months or so, he does like a Edo show where he'll bring vendors, DJs, or like I've DJ'd it before. A lot of times I'm booked, so we were like, lock this one in. And so we DJ it, or I'll DJ it while he has all these different vendors, all these local vendors from around the community, and we just put it on and say, come shop, enjoy, we'll feed you, and it's a good time. So
nice.
It's a good way for us to give back to the community.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
Awesome.
What about you? Where were you at?
Well, I attempted to be online. I didn't have any events this past week, and
I thought you did.
No, I did, actually. Okay, so let's start with that first, though. But I did attempt to go online on Friday with The Groove. So I've been trying to do this weekly. I'm not going to be able to get in this week because we've got AAU basketball season starting up, so we got tournaments going on. But I tried to go last week, and the weather. So I'm here, and I started streaming I got maybe 5-10 minutes in, and I thought my laptop had just like shut down on me. And so I'm like scrambling because I was trying something new, actually with this software that we're using here to run this cast with Ecamm. And I thought like my cast had just tanked, right? Like because of the laptop.
Software.
It was totally the weather. The wind blew, completely knocked out the internet for the building.
Oh, geez.
So about 10 minutes in, everything just goes down, and that was it. Mm-hmm. So we got like 10 minutes into the into the stream, and that was it was no good. But on Saturday, we had an event out at Sandia Resort.
Yeah.
And we did this. This is the second year that we've done this event, and it was the Einstein Gala.
Oh, nice.
And it's a benefit, I guess, like a fundraiser for the Nuclear Museum here in Albuquerque.
Okay.
And I don't know, there's probably about like 600 or so people. Pretty big event. And all they do, they bring me in just to be, I call it like radio DJ,
Background DJ,
it's background, but it's also just having the presence of a DJ. So they put us in the big room at Sandia Resort. They have all of their awards and all of that stuff on the big stage.
Nice.
And then completely opposite of the room, they set up another mini stage with me on it. And they actually have a dance floor out there.
That's cool. I
For,
like that.
for people afterward. So it's cool. They do a silent auction for the first like hour and a half, 2 hours.
Yeah.
And we're playing music, but it's actually in the room behind us. And they open up slightly like some of the air wall so the music can somewhat go through.
Yeah.
But it's so noisy in there you can't really hear the music. And that's not really the focus anyway.
That's okay.
It's just noise.
Yeah.
And we have a photo booth in that room. And then they bring everybody into the big room, and I'm providing the vibes, right, as people are walking in.
Nice.
They do a dinner, but during dinner they also run their awards show. So they're doing that stuff. And then they bring up during one portion of the night, they bring up, I forget what they're called, but basically it's high school students to do like a science experiment.
Okay.
So it's kind of cool, right?
Nice.
So I was prepared, and this is why it's funny. This is why they actually kind of hired us back, and why they really liked us last year is because we talk about on this podcast, on the show, or on previous episodes, the in-between moments, right?
Yeah, for sure.
So just kind of, I'm always ready if there's like this lull with people walking up to the stage or anything like that, just having some background music going. But I knew when the students were going up there to do their experiment, and they've got like some big screens, and so they got a couple of people with cameras like watching them and stuff.
Yeah.
But there's just like kind of this lull, right, while they're doing this stuff.
Yeah.
So I went on and threw little Einsteins on the background.
Nice.
I started off with that, and you could just see
hilarious.
people looking at me and bopping.
Little
Yeah.
Play weird science.
Well, so
Nice.
I did. So then I followed it up with that.
Nice. That's awesome.
But I have kind of
love
like,
that.
Yeah. So like it was.
And they didn't ask you to do that, right?
No.
Yeah.
They had
See?
no idea, right? So
awesome.
it just things like that, and it was fun. And then at the end of it, probably I think they end around 8:15, 8:30 with all of that.
Yeah.
They actually had a live auction too, which was pretty cool. But
Those are fun to watch.
it was pretty fun, especially their final prize was like this huge giveaway to Walt Disney World, and it involved like a training with lightsaber training, and they got to keep the lightsabers, all this stuff.
Wow.
That package went for like over $6,000. It was it was cool. But then they, end the event, and they tell people you can stick around for some dancing. And last year it was like a handful of people kind of hung out.
Yeah.
I mean, it was okay. But most people, it's a casino. They eat and they bounce.
Yeah.
But this one, at the end of the night, I had a packed dance floor.
Nice.
Not for, I mean, we probably played for about an hour or so, but I would say that packed dance floor lasted about a good half hour.
Yeah.
Just a lot of people out there. And I was playing like a lot of anthem-y stuff. Of course, I threw like Cupid Shuffle in there. Like,
of course,
I didn't start off with that, but I threw it in there. And that's just kind of the stuff that they just, whatever I could do, I knew. Just keep them there as long as I can.
That's the goal. So,
yeah.
And you created a nice little peak, you know what I mean, where people are like, yeah, we dance, and then they ended it. And,
right.
That's what we talk about a lot, where it's like being strategic about it. You don't have to have a 5-hour open dance to have like a successful open dance party, right? It's just how you do it strategically. So it's good.
You know what I'm going to start doing now, though? I don't know why I haven't been doing more of this, but at the end of that night, we smoothed it out. There was like not maybe 10 people, even if that, left in the room, and we ended at 10. So it was a hard stop at 10 o'clock. The night was ending at no matter what at that time.
Okay.
So it was about like the last maybe 15 minutes. There wasn't very many people left there. About 10, like I said, 10 or so.
Yeah.
I went into like Afrobeat vibes.
Nice.
And it's just like something clicked with me. I was like, why are you not doing more of this during like dinner?
Yeah.
And because it really was like just smooth. I was I was digging myself,
That's
you know.
Hilarious. I was like, it's chill. And you can kind of experiment. There's no really wrong answers at that point.
And it was like Afrobeat stuff with like music that we know.
Yeah.
You know, so there were remixes and mashups
Exactly.
with the Afrobeat. So I don't know. It just made me think I need to go and start looking at more Afrobeat stuff for like dinner vibes.
Totally. Yeah, and just start revamping the playlist. That was what was cool about Saturday is there really weren't any wrong answers. You just kind of feed the vibe. There's obviously a wrong answer in any kind of DJ setting, right? But like it opens it up because you can just play whatever you want. Chill house, pop, a little bit of dubstep, you know, like all kinds of different ways, and everybody was loving it. So that's cool.
That's what I like about these, like events like you did, and then like my corporate
more
event.
Casual, not a wedding, right?
Right. It's not. I get to play a lot of different stuff that I just don't normally get to maybe play.
Yeah.
I can try some things out, and I'm not ruining someone's day, right?
Right.
So no. So anyways, yeah. So that was it for events.
Yeah, it was good.
Last week
I
it was
saw Bijou at the new backstage.
Oh,
that's
we didn't
cool.
talk about that. How is that new space?
It's awesome. They definitely lifted the stage. It's not as high as I thought it was.
Okay.
But I think we can do it. It's definitely an incline. I'd be interested to see your opinion.
Great.
I walked into the venue space, and the first thing I went to was the stage, and I was like, it's about by my thigh or so. You know what I mean? So it's higher. But I think we could, I don't know.
So the reason we care about this and
Yes.
what the stage
What
height
people are-
is we actually have a date in the future where we're going to do our dueling DJ set. So be ready. It's coming,
I'll
peeps.
tell you the date. Go ahead. What it is, though. When is it?
So we're going to do that
Or
dueling.
What is it?
We're going to do dueling DJs, and they've revamped the space.
Yep.
All right. And so we were concerned because they were redoing the actual stage of us being able to get our DJ booths because my DJ booth, it's got to weigh like 200 pounds. Like you can't lift this thing up.
Yep.
But we have to use a ramp. So it's like, how high is the incline?
And it is July 21st.
Mark it down.
Mark it down. It's Sunday. Sunday fun day, July 21st.
That's right. So it is going to be different. We're going to be doing a Sunday fun day.
Yeah, but
out
it's
there.
nice because it's either hot or rainy in this time of the year. So we get to be inside, air conditioned. We get to control how it looks and feels. And there's just a lot of really cool things. It's pretty much the same feel, but just a little bigger. They push the bar back and all that.
Oh, dang. Okay, so mark it down. We need you peeps to come join us.
July 21st. We'll see you there.
All right. Okay, so we are going to get into our main topic of the day, which is talking about, we're going to let Tony guide us through this, and we're going to be talking about the wedding report. And I think we mentioned this, was it the last podcast? Or
I think 2 podcasts ago, 2 episodes ago, you had pulled up a YouTube clip where the gentleman, his name is Shane McMurray, he was interviewed by a money podcast.
Yeah, it was kind of like a business
podcast,
right?
And so what he does is every year is he puts together a comprehensive look into current trends, preferences, and behaviors of couples planning their weddings. Now, they do this by focusing on insights that could be especially useful for wedding professionals, venues, and we got a whole bunch of key takeaways. So last week, or 2 weeks ago, I went to this sales summit. It was really awesome, and they gave us access to this wedding report where they just do a bunch of research and they give you numbers, and it's supposed to help you kind of think what it gives you things to think about when you're trying to improve your business and where couples are overall spending their money and time and attention, right? So, and what this was interesting, they gave us the survey methodology, like how they actually obtain these numbers. And what they did is it's the Real Wedding Study. They captured responses from 9,138 U.S. married couples between January 1st and December 31st of 2023. Now, they were recruited via email on the Knot and their Wedding Wire membership, so that's interesting. Respondents represent couples from all over the country with various ethnicities, income levels, race, age, sexual orientation, and gender identity, right? So they have asked everyone, pretty much.
Right. Anybody that's getting married
last year,
they're surveying.
They had a really good idea of what their numbers are from, right? So the top 5 things that we got first was how couples are planning their wedding, right? So the first thing that they're doing is they're planning their budget. The second thing they're doing is they're making decisions. So what that means by that is they're prioritizing what's important to them, and then they're saying, okay, maybe I don't need an extravagant cake.
Right.
Maybe I need a better DJ. So that's what they mean by making decisions. Then they determine the guest list, how many people they want to be bringing, how much money does that entail. Also balancing wants, priorities. That's an interesting thing. I thought that could link a little bit more with making decisions, with balancing wants and priorities. With those of family members. So that's what was another thing, right? We've seen it where parents are influencing the bill. What does that look like, and how do their influences affect the wedding day?
Well, and as we're going to probably see later on with the ages, right, how that affects how much budget is going towards these weddings probably as well, right? Because we've found, this report found that we're not seeing as many parents that are paying for weddings.
Yeah.
So you're right. Like the couples are actually the ones that are making the decisions, and they might have tighter budgets because of that.
Yeah.
Right. So
and they're really, I feel like a lot of couples are focusing on making their day unique, right? Everyone had their wedding day 50 years ago, 40 years ago, whenever, at 30, 20, whenever they had it, right? But the idea is every wedding is different. But if they're like, oh, mija, we did it this way. This is how the wedding's supposed to be done.
Right.
And you're like, well, I don't really want to do La Marche at my wedding, right? Something like that is a big one.
Right.
And then knowing where to start. I think that's a big thing. A lot of couples didn't know where to begin. And places like the Wedding Collective are a really good spot. That's good that people have those resources locally and nationally at like the Knot or whatever. But
Right.
I thought that was interesting to see how they're planning.
This is the how.
Yeah.
This is how they're planning their weddings and basically where they're getting started, right?
Exactly. Yeah. Now the next one I really liked these. These are just kind of Gen Z facts, and these are really interesting, I thought. So Gen Z, when we talk about them, they're couples that are going to be aged from 18 to 26. So they are creeping up, right?
Yeah.
I saw on average that, or it says not on average, but they live on the internet. So it's super important to make sure that you have some kind of internet presence, whatever that looks like. We talk about it all the time, but these couples that are coming up, they're already 26 or so. They are looking for your presence online. So that's a given. It's already happening, and it's definitely being reinforced. Personalized experiences are a must. That makes so much sense. I mean, people love personalized things, but now it's elevating the napkins. It's making sure all of these different things match my colorway, or like making sure the personalization is really, really in tune there.
We talk about that a lot when it comes to music and DJing.
Yeah.
Like with playlist curation, right?
Yeah.
So points of the night, like cocktail hour, dinner music. We try to encourage our couples to really personalize that, make it yours. Like if you've got some eclectic taste in music, that's not mainstream dance music that we're going to use later on, throw that into your cocktail hour and dinner.
Those are the times to use it for sure, because people aren't paying as much attention to it, but it's a great way to personalize your tunes. And I'll get that all the time. Couples will be like, they don't like my music, but it's perfect for that.
Right, right. So we're always looking for ways, and we think that, and we've been seeing that, and this just reiterates that they are looking to personalize as many aspects of the wedding day as they can.
So if you have access to certain things, or if you have a Cricut machine, or if you have another way to personalize your photo delivery in different ways, right? That would be really amazing. Something I just saw, I just thought of, it was the DJs giving their couples a flash drive with their playlists and everything. And this is what we played. I thought that was awesome. And then I thought, take it one step further. Make a CD with like a custom image of them. And it says like after party. And they don't even have to play it. But it's a physical CD that they can look at. And it's a tangible thing that they can hold. And then you also give them a plain flash drive that has nothing. But that physical is a next level way to just upgrade yourself.
I'm going to give 8 tracks.
Yeah.
Do you know what? Do you even know what an 8-track is?
They're like big old squares. My grandma had her Cadillac, and we had to put it's like a Nintendo 64 cartridge. You know what I mean?
So
they're huge.
Real quick sidebar on that. I just listed a house because I do real estate as well, as some of you know, and recently, and they had an estate sale, and there was this really cool vintage like record, huge. You know, like those of you that know, back in the day, there was like this big giant speaker, and it had like the record player on top of it, right? And you would store your music, your records. But this thing, when we opened the drawers, it had a bunch of 8-tracks in it on top of the albums. No cool albums, I looked. But there was 8 tracks in there. I was like, oh my goodness.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, I'd seen one of those forever.
I mean, I've seen, last time I saw him was at my grandma's garage cleaning it out. She's got a box of them.
Crazy.
But yeah.
All right.
Just adding personalized things, keep it rolling.
Right.
They buy from businesses that align with their values. I've seen that a lot with millennials, but of course I see that as well. I feel like you're not putting it out there that you're LGBTQ friendly,
right, or green,
right, or doing something for the environment, linking your business to a cause, right? Like those can benefit you in a way, right? I think it's a really good thing. These two stats are cool. 67% of millennials are using Pinterest, while 72% of Gen Z are using Pinterest.
That's actually interesting because I don't think I have even looked at Pinterest in.
Pinterest is such a unique space because I've seen people crush it. It's beautiful for SEO. If you're doing it correctly, people can search your things and find you immediately because they're all actual website links versus like, go to the link in my bio, right? Like they can tap that and it takes them directly to your source.
That's something we need to, I guess, probably look at a little bit more.
Pinterest has always been an interesting thing, but it's such a monster. But I think if you just it's like blogs.
Right. Well, and that's the way I used it before. So if you go and look on Pinterest for Cutmaster Music, you're going to find us on there. But the content is so old, and that's really all it was. It was old blog posts that was like a top 10 list of this, right, or checklist, different things that at the time we thought would be useful for your wedding day.
Sure. Yeah, and I think it's coming back to like old things become new, get recycled, right? We stopped using Pinterest. I remember using it in like 7th, 8th grade. You'd make your wall. It was your aesthetic.
Right.
And now brides are making their wedding there, right? And it makes so much sense because it's a cool space to centralize ideas into folders, right? And so that's what I like about that.
All right.
Next, 32% of millennials want to communicate on text, and 42% of Gen Z would rather communicate on text.
Yeah, and that's not surprising.
Yeah.
I know that they're growing up with the phone in their hand, right?
This is the first generation to fully have the smartphone in their hand.
Yeah.
Or like just around.
Right. So that makes sense. And, based on marketing gurus, kind of like Alan Berg and people in the past that I've seen, they've all said, communicate with those how they are communicating with you, right? So if you might be wondering why you might be dropping off or getting ghosted. Are you using SMS and text, as a vehicle for communication if they are communicating with you that way?
It was happening to me. I had my bride. She's a little younger, which was fine. I was sending her emails trying to get answers on certain songs. Every time I text her, I'd get an immediate answer.
Right.
And, I like text too, so I ain't mad at it. But yeah, it's interesting how pay attention to how they're communicating to you, and then you'll get answers a lot quicker.
Right. I like it.
So those are just some Gen Z numbers.
Gen Z facts.
Now, more numbers for you, but these are overall couples.
All right. I'm going to put up because I actually have the visual here for us on this one. So let's go to it. There we go. And we can talk about these.
Nice. Okay. So today's, I don't know why I looked up there. Oh, dang, you got it? I know. That was magical. So today's couples are on an average of 32 years old. Are we looking at the same thing? Just making sure?
Yep.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. So I've just had the graphic right there.
Perfect. So my notes are just not the graphic.
Right.
Condensed it.
Yeah.
That's okay.
But I just have the graphic, and we're on it too. So,
beautiful.
Yeah.
Okay, so couples are an average of 32 years old. They've actually gone up a little bit. When I heard about this a couple years ago, it used to be like 28, 27. So I think that's interesting. But just like we're seeing, couples are paying more for their wedding on their own, so they're more established in their life later in their career.
You know what? And it's interesting. That's got to be a shift. I don't know exactly what it used to be, but I know we used to talk
20s.
about. I was going to say it was mid to late 20s.
Yep.
That was the average age of our couples getting married, and now we're into our 30s. Mm-hmm. So you're right. Like, we're looking at more people that are established. They want to be. They're going into their career a little bit longer before they're making the jump, right?
Yeah. Which is smart, because then I feel like they're getting the wedding that they want versus forcing themselves into a tunnel. I didn't envision myself getting married until a lot later, right? It's not as like the cultural norm to get as married as early now.
Right. Well, and I'm interested, I don't know if this is on here or not, but what the average engagement period is. I thought it was 15 months.
It is on here. Watch.
Oh, yeah, it says right there. They're engaged for an average of 15 months.
Yep, there you go.
So, I mean, that what that's telling me is we're seeing engagements happening late 20s.
Yeah.
Early 30s still, and then the actual marriage is happening, 15, it's a year and a half later.
Yeah.
Right. So, okay.
Yeah. So let's see. 75% of couples say guest experience is the most important. That makes a lot of sense, because that's how you can make your event memorable, is people talking about your event and being like, oh, remember the dance we had? Or remember all those signature cocktails were sick. They were named after the dog.
Right. And that's huge, because that's the largest number that, we're going to see here.
Yeah.
That 75%, that's, 3 out of every 4 couples, the experience matters the most. What are the emotions? What are people walking away thinking and feeling from your event, right?
Yeah. So think about those things. Even if you're selling photography, what are your couples going to experience when they open the actual photo book? Is it just a link? Does it turn into something? I don't know. Just thinking about those. I've been trying to push myself on, like, okay, I'm awesome at what I do. Now, how do I go above that?
Right.
With what else can we do to under promise and over deliver?
Absolutely.
So that's,
and you have to think of all your touch points, right?
Yeah.
So from someone very first clicking on your website, actually even before that, what do they see when they go to Google? Okay.
Yeah.
When they go to Google, what does your Google My Business profile look like? Is that even up to date? Have you guys even looked at that? Have you been doing posts on there? Have you been updating your pictures? What is your TikTok and Instagram?
Yep.
When they go and click on there and they're looking for the best Albuquerque florist, and their picture pops up.
Yeah.
What is that experience?
And they're looking for your consistency as well, right? I guarantee you they're not just tapping at the first one and being like, okay, they're relevant. They're looking and seeing, when was the last time you posted? They're doing their research. You'd be surprised how many of these kids are just on their phone. It was on SNL the other day. These 2 young girls, these police officers were trying to solve a murder. And they were like, found him. I found him on Instagram. I went to his viewed stories. And so they're doing their research. And they're making sure you're being consistent and not just posting every month or something like that.
Right.
So just be mindful of that. 68% of today's couples are millennials. Makes sense.
Yep.
14 is the average number of wedding pros hired.
That's interesting.
Right?
I wish we had what the top 14.
I've got them. They've got them. Yeah. Or they don't have the top 14. They've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Yeah. What are their top ones?
The top one is wedding dress, 92%. 91% is venue.
Okay.
89% photographer.
Yep.
87% wedding rings. 86 caterer.
87% wedding rings. That means only like 9 out of every 10. So not everybody's getting a ring.
Oh, wow. Or maybe.
I mean, yeah.
Pros hired by couple. Yeah. Wow. Well,
I'm just curious. I wonder what that number has looked like over time.
It's about the symbol of, you're right. That makes sense.
Right.
Okay. 86% was caterers.
Okay.
Then 86 was menswear.
Mm-hmm.
Then
only 8 out of every 10 guys are getting dressed. That's cool. Okay.
80% was cake. 76% was beauty. And 72% was DJ. Snuck in at the end.
So that means only 7 out of every 10 weddings are getting a DJ. So my guess is the other 3 are either having no entertainment or a band, I would assume, or instruments or something like that.
Which makes sense. There's couples who can DIY and do it themselves and are happy with that. And this really aligns with there's a wedding for everybody.
Right. Okay, cool.
Yeah. So let's see.
So it looks like couples, or 91% Actually, let's go above that, right? I lost my place here. 40. Oh, this was interesting. 42% of couples picked a fall wedding date.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So
what do you do with that, right? Like, make sure you're booking your fall dates. That's what I thought. But then maybe if you're offering certain...
Well, that means 60% is happening
don't discount fall.
Of that.
If I'm
fall is the biggest time of year.
Yeah, don't discount fall.
Right. And right. As a vendor...
That's what I'm thinking.
That's your most popular time of year.
Yeah.
But for couples... if you are looking at a fall wedding, you probably need to be looking more than a year out.
Yep.
You can't be getting married at Christmas time or getting engaged and thinking that you're probably going to book your venue space and your vendors for the fall.
That's so true, and it's so sad, but it's so true. People are thinking way ahead of you, and it's important to remember that.
Yeah.
Okay. Couples spent an average of 91%, or they did 91% of their wedding planning online.
Yep.
So that's something I think that's super important, is making sure you're just tech savvy in some kind of way. Emails, having the proper CRMs in place where you can actually they can just do it all online.
Right.
Couples will bring in checks.
I would say go even further than that. If you are a vendor, like in our case, I would have an app available, right? Because nobody wants to go to a website and then if it doesn't, shape right in the phone and things like that, resize.
Or you send them a link that they have to print out and fill out. Hell no. Yeah. That will not happen. They need to do it right on their phone. And if there's an app, oh my gosh, I just have to fill in the blanks. That's
one of the biggest compliments that we get from our couples is an app that we use at Cutmaster. And it makes all their planning. They can do all their planning there, agendas, timelines, music curation. They can import their Spotify, Apple Music playlists. And I feel like 7 to 8 out of every 10 couples make some sort of comment that the app was great. Thank you so much.
It's just really cool because I always say it's a centralized space for your thoughts, right? It's kind of like a Pinterest idea,
right?
Where you're like, okay, that's my DJ right there.
Yeah.
And so I don't have to put all these folders together or get music playlists and keep it all organized. It's all right there. So it's really convenient.
And it's shareable. Like our app, I mean, they can make music requests like ahead of time with your guests and stuff. So just, makes it easy.
Let's see. So they spent an average of 7 hours a week planning. Interesting.
Okay. An hour a day.
An hour a day, yeah.
All right.
Engaged 15 months. We said that.
Yep.
After 6 years. Oh, we've got our new first dance song.
All right.
Ed Sheeran Perfect by Ed Sheeran was the #1 first dance song for 6 years. And it is now Can't Help Falling in Love, Elvis Presley. Aww. It's pretty nice.
I wonder, was that the song before Perfect by Ed Sheeran?
Right.
We need to look that up. Because, I mean, that's some old school stuff right there, right?
That's true.
So
people are going back.
I wonder if it went back to what it was before Ed Sheeran Perfect.
I could see that.
All right, cool. So those are the things that couples care most about.
Yeah, and then I think we have a couple percentages on that as well. Things couples care about. We talked about guest experience. They care about the cost and the budget. Another one, 64% budget is a huge thing. Next, 63% is personalization. 62% is the overall look and vibe. And then 62% food and beverage. So yeah, it just means that they're really considering pricing in every aspect in what they're looking at. So what it says here is make sure you're putting your pricing on making sure your pricing is accessible in some type of way. We definitely have them reach out to us and then we send them a link to our pricing, but making sure you're being transparent with them right away, right? I think it's nice for us. We've found that it's super helpful for us to kind of filter through certain couples and find the right ones that align with us through this process, right? I know a lot of vendors who will put my minimum here, average pricing there, maximum pricing there. Having some type of number for them to wrap their head around is going to help you in the long run for sure.
Right. And I'm going to go back to this slide here.
Okay.
We actually talked about this earlier. These are the top pros that were hired by couples in 2023. So there you can see those percentages. And that you already mentioned this earlier, so I just wanted to share that slide.
Nice.
There with everyone. Let's go to this final slide here. These are the top wedding trends of 2023. So this is an interesting slide. 91% do a first dance.
I love it. I love that they're doing it and they're staying true to it, because that is one of the things I feel like will never die. You need your first dance as a married couple. It's a beautiful moment. I could see that always happening.
Right.
But definitely there's couples who are like, no, we're good. We don't want to be out there. I've seen those as well. So.
Yep. Going down the list here, 85% order of the day was ceremony, cocktail hour, then reception.
I mean, what other way is there to do it?
Right. Well, maybe like we've talked about doing the cocktail kind of hour before ceremony, so that way you get everybody there ahead of time. So maybe that's just shifting up the order a little bit. 84% of couples created a wedding website.
Nice.
I feel like most couples that we talk to are doing a website of some sort.
Yeah.
And then 83% had family friends give toasts. 79% took engagement photos.
Nice.
I know photographers, at least that we've had on the pod, have talked about they like it and almost require. I know there are a couple of them that require engagement photos, right? So that way they get comfortable being in front of the camera and that sort of thing. So that's a big reason I know that they like to do engagement photos.
Yeah, you didn't realize you needed it until you're in front of that camera and you're like, oh, this is awkward. Because then someone's in front of you
and I think
9 hours.
A lot of them are packaging it like, no, it comes with engagement photos, and we really need to do this.
You need to do this. Yeah.
Okay. 73% of guests had specific table assignments. I know, at least from everyone that we talk to, they love having table assignments, or they wish and regretted that they didn't have table assignments, right?
Seating charts are a must. I've definitely attended a wedding where we were supposed to sit here and it was a reserved table. There was no reserved sign. We had to get up. There was nowhere to sit. And all 5 of us had to
disperse.
Yeah.
Ooh, so you couldn't even sit with Sindra?
No. Well, me and Sindra sat together. But I even had to share my seat. It was kind of weird.
You're like half your butt cheek was hanging off.
Well, it was in Cancun. So I could DJ and MC.
Oh, yeah.
And so I was sitting there, and then I was like, well, you could sit there, Sindra, and I'll be doing other things, so you're okay. But yeah, it was, and it felt horrible to have to get up and be moved, and the person moving us didn't want to have to say that either.
It's bad all the way around.
Yeah,
right?
So I know it's going to be a little bit more on tasking and trying to figure out, oh my gosh, do we sit this person next to that person? Well, this is so stressful.
The experience.
Yeah. It's exactly. You take on that stress so that your guests can really have a good experience, not have to stress about fighting for their seat.
Yeah, it's on. We're fighting,
right?
Yeah.
Okay.
62% of couples had an open bar.
I love it.
I wonder what that number how that's shifted over the years. This is our first year of an ongoing annual wedding report day that we're going to have. Mm-hmm. So in 50 years from now, I wonder
if they'll have what it'll look like.
What's it going to look like? Okay, 62% had a semi-formal affair.
Nice.
Okay, 56% of couples do a first look. So half.
Yeah.
38% of couples included a QR code in their save the dates.
Interesting.
Getting techie.
Yeah.
I feel like QR codes have made the comeback. It's weird. Like when they first came out, there was kind of all this I don't know, little hype buzz around it. Yeah. And then I feel like it died off.
Yeah.
Then nobody was using it, and now it seems like it's
COVID had the menus. So they had QRs everywhere, and I feel like that really brought it back, because then you would just have your QR code on a table and be like, oh. And that was the death of the menu.
Totally.
Now they're coming back.
But you're right. QR codes are on everything now, right? You just go up and.
I like them. I think they're super convenient, effective, if you know where to place them, right? I saw a TikTok the other day saying, do not put QR codes on your videos on this kind of content that people are putting out. How am I supposed to scan it?
Yeah. I'm looking at it on my phone. That's what I've always wondered. I see that all the time, on TikTok or whatever, or people in some group me's and stuff with sports, Venmo me. Here's my QR code. I'm like, well, I'm on my phone. How am I supposed to,
right?
But
a great example is my tip jar. I have both my Venmo and my Square and my Cash App links there, and I get the most tips through there now because nobody carries cash.
Yeah.
but they have Venmo, so then they just dink.
Well, so what I've been doing at events, it depends. It's got to be the right couple and the right time of night. But because of my DJ booth, I will actually do requests through there. And so what I do, here's a little hack for you DJs out there. QR code directly to your Instagram and say, DM me your requests. Because that's how you can maybe start getting some new followers.
Oh, right? Yeah, that's smart.
So, yeah. And
I like it.
And then you obviously you just need to be checking your DMs, with the requests, but you see your notifications popping up and whatnot. So yeah, that's something on my screen. I'll pop it up, and I won't leave it there the entire night. It's usually something that we'll scroll through in the midst of monograms and stuff like that. So, but then people are coming up to the booth and no requests. They're not actually like in my ear, or they're not doing this, right?
Yeah.
So they're doing this.
It's interesting how at like a wedding, that doesn't happen too often. It'll happen. But at kids' dances, man, they don't get it. Nightclubs kind of, but kids' dances.
Doing that.
Yeah.
Play Bad Bunny.
Bad Bunny.
Face.
Paso.
Man. Cool.
Yeah. So, and then we just had kind of like the 5 big takeaways at the end
from
the wedding report.
Yeah.
That was our final thing. So one was focus on personalization. I think that's really, really key. Making sure you can stand out from the rest and making sure you're giving them personalized items, whatever that may be. Just making sure you're going above and beyond to making sure all of the experience does have that personal touch. Being experience obsessed, that makes a lot of sense.
We don't even call our packages. We call them experiences.
Yeah, but I think you hit it around the head. Every touch point, from the sale, from before the sale to during the actual interaction, right? What are you doing to really elevate their experience? Whether it's personalizing the planning meetings when they come in, right? I'll put a little welcome and their name, and just having that little extra of like, oh, wow, you took the time to do that, right? Personalization, that's all it is.
Yep.
Next is adopt and be flexible with technology. I think that's never going to die. It's just going to evolve always, so making sure you're in tune with that. The constant challenge I'm noticing in the 10 years I've done this is that age is shifting a little, so that's interesting, but it does stay younger as opposed to older.
You know what, though? I'm going to tell you, vendors out there, we talk with a lot of people, and it really is surprising to me on how many will tell us, we'll start talking about TikTok or whatever and using CapCut, and how many people tell us, I really need to do that, or I need to get on that. I need to do better. And it's really surprising to me how many wedding vendors
don't do
it. And don't apply. Like photographers, you've got these beautiful photos, and nobody's seeing them on these platforms, right?
Right. Like that social is meant to share your catalog. I think the challenge is you have to now become a video editor.
Right.
Because everything is moving and you're shooting still images. So figuring out how to deliver those make them move without having that it can be challenging.
You know what? So, and I think I'm seeing and the way it feels is as you start creeping up in age, right? So like you're 30.
Yeah.
I'm 45. Don't at me, people. I'm not old. All right. But as the vendor age gets older, they seem less likely, right? They don't want, just one more thing. How do I keep up with it all? And I know it's tough, but you got to do it. Like if you want events, like we just showed you, this report is telling you where they're hanging out and where they're finding people. Like you got to do it,
Yeah. It's true, and once you can figure out a lot of these things, the systems that they have, I feel like you can start getting a little bit more familiar with the product and the social aspect, and it just becomes a little bit easier.
Or you find people, if you don't want to do it personally, you find people that do.
Yeah, delegate.
Right.
It's true.
And I do it. Like I do stuff, but but I'll tell you, like I'm not on TikTok like all the time as much. But here's the thing: I create tons of content that I should probably be throwing up on TikTok as well as Instagram and stuff.
Yeah. See, that's where it gets tricky, is trying to make sure we're putting in every single avenue.
Right.
Yeah, we're so used to Instagram and Facebook and
But that's
YouTube.
just me personally. But at least I've got like you, Victoria, now Joe, and we've got like the spider, right? The network, the web is out there in all these different areas.
The idea is we want them seeing that logo, see events being crushed and seeing that logo and be like, okay. Associating that, right? It's like it's just advertising when you think about it. Like when you think, "Oh, I'm thirsty, I want a Sprite,"
and it's free advertising on top of that.
It's free. So. We don't pay for any of it.
Yep. Okay, keep going.
Refine your marketing. Be sure to just make sure you're evolving, changing it, and looking at it at least 6 months to a year every single time because it's always changing. That's something I've learned with marketing is it's always evolving. Like just as soon as you think you've got it down, there's a new way or it's, oh, nope, now you got to figure out a new way to market it on TikTok with this sound. Now you don't have UMG sounds. Now you've got to figure out a new, different way, right?
And who you're marketing to, because obviously now we're marketing to a different couple. This shows it. We're marketing to a 32-year-old couple and not a 27, 28-year-old couple, right? Which could be a little bit different.
Definitely.
So
and then just optimizing your advertising. I think it's saying the same thing, but making use of your free avenues like the Google My Home page, right? Different things like that can allow you to at least be heard and be seen because you're using it and somebody else isn't. So making sure you're just taking advantage of all those avenues.
Nice. All right.
So yeah, that was pretty good. Pretty good little report.
There we go. So, and if you want to get the wedding report, I think, is it theweddingreport.com? Is that right?
I think so, yeah.
And I know that you can get a free.
We condensed it. There's a little bit more in there, but
you can get a free version. But if you pay, I think you get a little bit more data and information and stuff like that. So, might be worth checking out. But yeah, cool. That was good stuff. So, are you checking out to see if that's the website?
Uh-huh.
All right.
The wedding report. Yeah. Wedding statistics. Dang. They've got some crazy ones.
Yeah, they've got they do a deep dive into a lot of different areas and things. And actually what's nice about the wedding report too is you can look at your state and your market. Obviously a lot of things are market driven, right?
Yeah.
So what might be important in the New York market may not be as important here and vice versa, right? So
they give you a bunch of different stats. There's a free one and then there's like $100 membership to have access to all their numbers. So
right. All right, let's keep it moving. You know it. Gonna do it.
It's time
for
the grab bag.
Jesus.
Hey, we got it. We hit it.
Kind of.
It's all about hitting the grab bag.
We look at each other like, who's going to go first?
Yeah, right.
Okay, and then we do it at the same time. And then we're like, okay, who's going to be offbeat?
Yep.
Good Lord, people. Okay, so we can actually bring these up now live for you all. So we've got 3 grab bags that we're going to do. I'm going to attempt to do this. Let's see if it plays right away.
Let's see what we got.
And then we're going to discuss.
Okay.
And that is not it. I was clicked on the wrong one. Here we go. That's not it either. Hold on. I'm learning my workflow here. I meant to start with this. But let's bring up this guy.
Nice.
The more you spend on your wedding, the more likely you are to get divorced. I'm Mrs. Todd Jones' millennial finance expert, and because I don't want this to happen to you, here are the 6 best ways to save money on your wedding in 60 seconds. Number 1, avoid peak season. Look at months like January, February, and November, and look at days like Sundays and Fridays. Number 2, cut that guest list. Your random second cousins are costing you. Number 3, skip the card stock and send digital invites. Or have fun with it. Send them a cameo of your favorite celeb inviting them to the wedding. Number 4, buy your dress from a trunk show. My friend literally flew to Palm Beach to get her dress at a trunk show, and even though she had to pay for the flight, she still had thousands in savings. Number 5, skip the seated dinner. Either do a buffet or have a cocktail party. You'll save big on servers. Number 6, just have one venue. You'll save on transportation, event costs, and it will just be less stressful. Tap someone who's getting married, follow for more, and stay rich. The more you...
All right.
Stay rich.
And stay rich.
I like it.
Yeah, so you don't have to invite that third cousin. So that's one of the things Monica and I we talk about. If we could go back in time, right? It's gonna be 20 years this year.
Nice, that's cool.
Woo, we're old. But we had like I don't know, 250, 300 people at our wedding. And a lot of that is because of the cultural norms kind of built into a Hispanic family, right?
You gotta invite your cousin.
We have to invite our third, fourth, fifth cousin because that I don't even know.
Yeah, right.
Right? I've never even seen. I don't know them. And then you've got the family. I call them the wedding and funeral family, right? That's the only time you see them is at weddings and funerals.
Yeah, for real.
And so that's an easy way to cut costs. Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't invite even your first cousins that you don't see, right? I mean,
I like to think of it as each person that is invited to the wedding has some kind of role in those people's lives. I like to think of it that way. It's a good opportunity to have certain family members, maybe from a far side of the country, to finally meet them, right? I've seen that.
Yeah. And I think we're seeing that, so the wedding report's showing us
Yeah.
they want it to be more personalized, right? And more even personable.
And we've been seeing guest count numbers going down.
Totally.
Going down.
I mean, when was the last time that we did like a 500 person wedding?
It's been a while.
Yeah. I mean,
I can't think of. I did 3 last year.
that were over 500?
No. I did 300.
Oh, yeah.
Around 300.
Right.
Two.
I mean, I would say our average guest count tends to be 100 to 150.
Exactly. That's usually the
so
sweet spot.
I think we're seeing that, like the weddings, the actual receptions getting smaller.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, and then taking advantage of those off-season dates, I think, are so genius, right? Everybody and their mom wants to get married in fall, so why not get married in February?
Right.
Like I think it's important to think about those things. January's tough. A lot of people are practicing like dry January and stuff, but you will save money.
That's right.
So,
all right. Here.
I was going to say that dress trunk thing. I didn't never heard of that.
Oh yeah, I hadn't either. So I don't know. I don't even know.
I don't know what dress swap meet kind of vibes.
I guess so. Yeah, you just I tell us in the chat, in the comments.
Yeah, let us know.
Let us know but it sounds like you save money going to those. I don't know.
Good idea.
So maybe is that like Sneaker Con?
Yeah, where they go and trade dresses.
Yeah, trade dresses and I don't know.
She saved thousands apparently.
Hey, so do what you got to do.
Yep.
All right, here's the next one in the grab bag.
Wedding tips from a photographer. This time we're going to talk about booking your vendors. The best advice I can give is as soon as you booked your venue and you have a date, to start looking at the vendors that you really want and really prioritize your one-a-day vendors. There are wedding suppliers and vendors that can only do one wedding per day. And once your date is booked, it's booked. So for example, photographers, videographers, musicians, hairstylists, makeup artists, we can only do one wedding per day. So it makes sense to prioritize these bookings just to make sure you get the person you want. The good news is that the vast majority of wedding vendors will just take a small deposit. It doesn't mean you have to fork out absolutely thousands to secure your wedding suppliers. You can just pay small deposits, and then once you've booked the people that you want, you can sit back safe in the knowledge that they are booked for your wedding day. For more tips like this, give us a follow.
All right.
Nice.
So, yeah, book those. We've said this before, and we talked about it a little bit earlier on the report. Get your vendors right away, especially if you find somebody you like, because chances are pretty good. If you really like them, there's a reason, and there's probably a reason a lot of other people like them as well.
We're getting inquiries for May of next year now, so that's really exciting.
We're getting the 2025s.
Yeah, exactly.
They're definitely coming through. So, book them soon. Get them locked up.
It breaks my heart whenever somebody tells me, "Oh, this is my day. You've got to be the person." It's like, I'm so sorry. I'm booked.
Well, I'm not booked that Monday.
Yeah, right.
bring me in on Monday.
I'm not booked that Monday.
Actually, we just got a inquiry for a Monday and a Thursday
wedding.
Yeah.
Thursday, that Thursday one.
Yeah, the Monday one was interesting. It was kind of crazy. And they were like, yes, it's a Monday.
Wow.
So, yeah, I don't know. Trying to save money.
Save money for
Save
sure.
money. Yeah. Okay, this is going to be our last grab bag.
Nice.
Live band versus DJ. I have really strong opinions on this, actually.
Okay.
I go DJ. I know that's a controversial opinion.
Nice.
Possibly, but here are the reasons. I love rap. I know it doesn't look like it. Hip hop and EDM. I love everything, but to dance to, because I really love to dance, I'm going to listen to like I'm old, like 80s and 90s, like hip hop and rap, and like, you know, I'm going to listen to pop and all of that too, but I like certain music that a band wouldn't be able to play. So you have to think about what kind of music and what kind of songs you want played for dancing. If they're top 40 hits that a band can play really well, then I think a band is okay. As long as you find a great band that you like within your price range. Bands are also very expensive, and
depends on how big the band is, right?
Everybody's got to get paid.
And there's a lot of them. So let's say you have an 8-person band and a sound engineer. That's 9 additional.
You even think about the people that need to
pay for these people
help
to
the
eat.
band.
Yeah,
now it's not the
sound
cost of a
engineer.
guest eating, but it is more money versus one DJ. And sometimes the DJ has their own sound guy too. So max 2 people. So you could get an amazing DJ for less money than an 8-person band, and then also not be paying for their vendor meals. Also, bands take breaks, so find out if they're going to,
especially if they're
have a
mariachi
DJ in
bands.
between, or just like pop on any
2
sort
songs.
of
Break time.
playlist. So there's a lot more scheduling issues with bands that I don't love to deal with. I think they have a lot of needs and requirements, you know. They're talented musicians. It just doesn't always work for my timelines.
It's a long one.
Some bands are very
All right, there's still 30
entitled,
seconds of
and
this. We're cutting her off. We get it.
She likes the DJ.
That's right. She likes the DJ. And
no, I mean, it makes sense.
Went to the wrong thing here.
She's saying a lot of the right things, or she's saying a lot of things to think about when you hire a band. If you're really passionate about having a band, please do it. But these are things to think about.
Totally. So this is actually pretty relevant to a conversation I just had with a client this past week, because they're actually going to do both, DJ and the band.
Love it. Let's go.
But here's the issue. Somebody else is paying for it, not them, right?
Okay.
So they're trying to justify, and I'm having to sell, the other party on having a DJ.
Couple sold, people paying it isn't sold yet.
Yes.
Okay.
Exactly. So
that's so tough.
So I'm having to sell our services, right? Not just to the couple, but now I got to sell it to the aunt over here who's paying for the event, right? And so of course it's your band typically isn't going to MC. They're not going to lead you through everything.
Yeah.
Limited playlist. If you need to change directions, do they have that ability to do that, right? And I love live music more than anybody else out there. I love live music.
We're asking what's going to happen during their break. What are you going to do?
And so they're going to take a break. There's going to be a 2-hour lull, right? So, right. So, and I think if you can afford to have both, but here's the other thing in this case, space. All right. So in the venue that we're going to be at,
where is it?
It's at Sandy Event Center, and they're going to have 200 plus people, I believe. So imagine 200 people,
that's tight.
A band and a DJ.
That's so
like, I don't know how, and that's what I'm like. So I'm telling the aunt over here, I'm just letting you know, I'll work with anything. It's not a problem.
Yeah.
Like, we'll figure it out. But I don't know how you're fitting all of us in there. Like,
Yeah, I would agree, because the band takes up a lot of real estate.
Yeah.
And with 200 people, that's almost a full thing.
It's full with a DJ.
Yeah.
I'm like, much less putting a band.
And then a dance floor?
And a dance floor.
Stage?
Yeah. What are you going to do?
All
right. So
you got all these visions, but then you don't actually break them down, So it's important to really think about your day and really get a good understanding of layout and overall flow. And because yes, I get it. It's important. You want a DJ and you want a band, but I like having both. But trim the guest count if I had to say anything.
Yeah, you got to make some room. You got to make it work.
Yeah.
So I don't know. And it's just one of those things, you got to prioritize. You have to think about logistics with your space, your venue. These are all things you got to think about. It all sounds great a lot of times up here, but in practice, just like we know, like you're asking a lot. Like this is, I don't know how this is all going to work. Right. So anyways, it's going to be interesting to see.
Yeah, we'll see.
We booked it.
There you go.
So what's funny was that
it's basically a second sales meeting.
The
with
aunt was like, I'm going to go back to them and tell them they don't need the band, and I'm like, I'll do whatever you guys want. I was like, you
sold her.
Figure it out. Oh, she paid deposit and everything on the spot.
Dope. Yeah.
She's like, they don't need that, and they don't need the band and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, yeah, you figure it out. I'll talk to you next week. Like, let me know what you decide.
That's
right?
hilarious. You're just trying to preach your case, and she can take that with her opinion and form it however she wants.
Right. And here's the other thing with bands. Like, bands are great, especially if they're good. But man, I mean, only Bruno sounds like Bruno. Only Michael Jackson sounds like Michael Jackson.
Yeah.
I'm throwing artists out there, but
Beyonce.
Salinas only sounds like Salinas.
Yeah.
So it just, and we can make those. We can read the dance floor, read the group, read the crowd. We can make
live
turns right
in real time.
Yep.
But it's all good.
But all right, cool. So before we end the live portion of the pod here, anything else that we can think of?
I'm at Marble tomorrow, Marble West Side. Come hang out.
Go hang out. What times?
7 to 10.
7 to 10. Go hang out with Zia at Marble.
March Madness.
He's gonna play for March Madness. He's gonna play La Marcha all night long.
That would be funny. But yeah, we got basketball playing. Lobos play tomorrow.
Let's go Lobos.
I think they play at like 1 or so.
It's 1:15.
Nice. There you go. So that's cool. You don't have to miss the game. But yeah, let's see. Other than that, what else we got going on? I'm gonna see Mark Norman on Saturday, comedian.
Okay, nice. No events this weekend. I'm gonna be in gym all weekend long.
Nice.
Some
AAU ball.
Yep. So, but cool. All right, you guys. Well, we appreciate you hanging out with us online. Yep. That is going to do it for us on episode 52 of the Cutmaster Cast for the live portion of it. We're actually going to get into the back to the music section here in just a moment, and you can see that on Spotify. So have a great week, you guys. And before we get out of here,
what do you got?
We are planning on doing this.
Yes,
we're going to try our hardest. You guys know how it is with events. You never know. But we are looking at Thursdays, 11 o'clock Mountain Time. So that is 1 o'clock Eastern, noon Central, 10 o'clock Pacific.
Yeah, exactly.
I think I got all those right.
You got it. Yeah.
11 o'clock our time.
Yeah, that's what matters.
And try to do this a weekly standing.
Every Thursdays at 11. That's what we're trying to shoot for, the Cutmaster live cast.
That's right. So feel free to join us, and you guys can make comments on this. I don't see any comments on here now, but feel free to comment during the cast, and we'll bring them in. We can throw them up on the show and try to interact with you guys a little bit too. So
totally.
Cool. All right. Those of you that are live, we'll see you. Have a great week.
We'll see you later.